Philip to Evelyn, 3 September 1945. Dearest Chippy, couldn't write last night because we worked till 11 p.m. completing the records of 37 more of our men who are shipping out. This leaves us only 82 men out of a squadron that numbered 219 on activation on 18 April 45. These fellows have from 45 to 59 points, and it looks like they are scheduled to replace high point men in the states who are being discharged. All we have left now, but for a few exceptions, are men with ASR scores of 60 to 74 points who are under the critical score necessary to qualify for discharge, but who will be eligible shortly. Today we heard on the radio that we will add on 8 points from VE to VJ, that the critical score is now 80 points, and that men over 35 years of age will be discharged. The added points will run my score up to 77, still 3 short, but I'm not worrying because I know the score will be dropping swiftly from now on. It must if they expect to get great numbers of men out of the Army. In short, I'm positive now that I'll be heading straight for the separation center when I step off the gangplank. What's more, sweet, you will be happy to learn, I think, that things are really beginning to hum around here. We are bending every effort to get our planes, trucks, tools, and all our equipment turned into the depot, and everyone is packing feverishly because we are losing personnel so fast that very soon we won't have anyone left to do the packing. For the same reason, while we still have clerks enough to do the job, we are starting tomorrow to process the records of every man on the station. We figure it will take about 4 days to accomplish this. 9 of us will be working on a quote, production line, end quote, basis, like we did in May. Although we haven't been told anything definite, almost everyone is convinced we will be off the station sometime this month. However, the same guys who insist this is the straight dope won't venture to say whether we will be going straight to POE from here, or whether we'll, quote, sweat out, end quote, a ship at some other base. I'm rather inclined to think that the latter is more probable, but I can't help getting the impression from the way things are happening that those of us who are left will be homeward bound sometime in October. How does that suit you, honey? It suits me fine, because then I would certainly be out of the Army in plenty of time for the pumpkin's birthday. That, incidentally, is what I am hoping for right now. I know you are hoping that too, baby. So much for the way the situation now stands. Before I go about answering your longie of 25 August and your V-mail of 27 August, both of which arrived today, I wanted to answer your query of a few weeks ago, which it just occurred to me today I had failed to do. It concerns your question about buying a watch for you through our PX. Sorry, honey, but they just don't have that item. Maybe they have it in the PXs in the States. If so, we'll see what we can do when I get back. As for the watch I ordered, it hasn't come in yet, and I'm very much afraid I've, quote, had it, end quote, as far as a watch is concerned. Frankly, I'm not going to feel too badly about it, because I still find myself reluctant to lay out $30 for something that isn't a necessity, even if it does mean saving $30 in the long run. Either way, I won't have any regrets. Now for your letters. I could write another longie about the way you answered my protest about my added weight, but I am weary to death of the subject, so I will just answer 2 of your statements as briefly as I know how. 1, quote, Phil, do my feelings mean nothing to you? End quote. You must know the answer, but since you choose to ask ambiguous questions, yes, they mean everything to me. That's why you wound me so when you are against me. 2. Quote, you shouldn't really take such exception with me right now because I can't see for myself, end quote. Now, that's downright unreasonable, Chippy. The obvious retort, of course, is, why do you criticize before you see me? Perhaps, as you yourself admit, I won't be quite as repulsive as Eddie and Harry have led you to believe. I could shoot them both for starting all this. At any rate, let this be the end of it. We shall see what we shall see. Sorry the front door key isn't working, but send it along anyhow, will you, sweet? It'll fulfill a long-cherished hope. You understand. It was sweet of you, baby, to take the time and trouble to make out that list of clothes I'll need. But you're way off the beam, I think, if you think I'm going to spend that kind of money on my wardrobe, even over a period of time. What, for instance, would I do with 18 pairs of socks, or 12 pairs of underwear, or 18 hankies? I've got 25 right now. And what makes you think I'd ever spend $50 for a, quote, dress coat, end quote? I presume you mean a top coat? Or $24 for 3 sport shirts, whatever they are? On the other hand, I still think I'll need another hat for wear during the week if I'm to save that, quote, good-looking, end quote, hat for going out on weekends. Can you imagine the kick I get out of just discussing this, Chippy? The prices I quoted were, of course, pre-war, and I still think that by the time we go shopping, I'll be able to get all the items I mentioned at the prices I quoted. Altogether, Chippy, I think my list is the more practical one, as I'll one day prove to you. I'm saving both lists against that day. One more thing. I was grateful for your generosity, honey, even though it was misplaced. You start your letter of 27 August by reminding me of another 27 August. Was it really 6 years ago, not hence? Of course I remember it. I even remember how I almost made a hole where there wasn't any, if you know what I mean. Was it that night afterwards that I got into your panties for the first time? You know that I still often wonder if you enjoyed the first few times, or if it were more pain than pleasure for you. And if it were the latter, why you submitted. Would you care to enlighten me, baby? I still thrill at the mere memory of those glorious nights when your girlish charms put me all on fire, and you so generously satisfied my every desire. I hope, my darling, that it was every bit as wonderful for you, that you too can still thrill to the memory of precious days and nights and all that followed, that you are looking forward to the resumption of our sexual relations with the same consuming eagerness and impatience that I am feeling with increasing intensity as the day draws nearer. Sorry to hear of Yale's recurring pleurisy. I do hope he pulls through okay. Keep me posted, will you, sweet? I always knew that Bob would make a name for himself if he could overcome his backwardness about singing in public. What's all this about his going to Hollywood? Has he had an offer? Your suggestion about writing a hit tune, flatterer, was duly noted, and given the opportunity, I might take a whack at it, but I don't expect the opportunity to present itself for some time yet. However, remind me sometime, honey. Remind me. By the way, did you ever submit either of my manuscripts? And did you order that 2-year subscription for Mrs. Davis? If you haven't, I wish you would tend to it right away, baby. I'll reimburse you just as soon as you inform me that you have taken care of it. And please, pretty please, won't you try to write to them soon? Well, sweetheart, I've been writing more than 2 hours and I'm pretty tired, and it's almost time for lights out. You'll excuse me, I know, if I conclude this now. How's my daughter these days? You barely mentioned her in your last 3 letters. Give her a big hug and kiss for Daddy. I'll give you the same for hubby. I want you very, very much, my little, quote, buckaroo, end quote. Look, I can't even spell it. I adore you, my Evie. Give my love to all, and be very sure that you will soon have all of your fill.